Hi, Rita.
Hey, Pam, it's good to see you again. Welcome to our midday musing.
Yes, it's good to see you on this Monday. I know that so many things are happening in life. I'm in the middle of vacation in LA, so thought I'd squeeze some time with you. How's it going?
Cool, cool. Well, we're having a storm today. There's dark clouds all around my house, but I thought it'll always be sunshine when I chat with Pam. So
I
here we are.
appreciate that.
I know we discussed about leadership, and we're in the middle of discussing about leadership.
Yes.
And last time we spoke about steward leadership,
Yep,
and
yep.
I know there's so many other styles. So I'm going to ask you some more questions about other leadership styles.
That
Okay.
sounds like a plan. What do you want to
So we
know?
have I was thinking let's do like 4 different styles of leadership.
Sounds good.
And then maybe you can tell us your thoughts and we can see what we can gather from these,
Okay.
right? So the first one I want to talk about is the trait leadership. What's your style? I mean, what is your thoughts on the trait leadership style?
Okay. Yeah, I think that's interesting that we could talk about it. I wanted to say one more thing. It just came to my mind. I feel like the reason we're talking about these is it's good to understand that we might go, as we're talking about this, I can reflect on, man, I've been that kind of a leader, or I've had this kind of a leader in my life. So we only have choice on how we respond. So hopefully the goal is, as we discuss these, and then we're inviting our friends because you wanted to invite the world of our friends to kind of gain understanding about leadership too. So I think the biggest takeaway is how understanding these leaders might help us respond better when we are
Mhm.
under different leadership models that we might not, let's say, like,
Yeah.
then we might have problems with, or we might struggle and we're like, oh, I don't like this leader, why they're doing this to me. But
Right.
understanding the different models and different preferences might help us give more grace, give more understanding, guard our hearts, and even appreciate the strengths of those models. So what do you think?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think, I don't know if we mentioned it, but the last time we said leaders are supposed to be evolving. Like we're supposed to keep on evolving. And I know that we're supposed to keep up with the change. So,
Yes.
which means in our life, in order for us to be effective, we're going to have to borrow from different styles or
Right.
even learn about different styles.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
that's,
Yeah,
I
that's
think,
right. And I'm excited because as I was researching all these different leadership models, it gave me perspective and understanding. And I hope that our audience, whoever listens to us, that can benefit too. So
absolutely.
you were asking about trait leadership. I think
Yes.
trait leadership is like the oldest model. They used to call it the great man theory, or some people call it the charismatic leadership, where they just have that personality. When they
Hmm.
walk in, that person's the leader. They just are jovial. They can gather crowds. The way they speak is so inspirational. We have people, even in the world, people like Hitler, Stalin. They're all models of trait leadership models. And I'm sure even in the kingdom, we've had charismatic leaders that we were inspired to follow. And I'm sure you and I have been there too. So,
That's right. So what you're saying is trait leadership has a lot to do with your personality, who you are, right? How you attract the crowd, your strengths, basically. So
yeah,
you lead based on your strengths.
right.
And so people are only looking at your strengths,
Yeah,
but not so much your weaknesses because you just want to make sure that the strength is what everybody sees. And so
yeah.
I could come across as someone who doesn't really have any weakness.
Yes, I think that everybody has weaknesses, but in under this model, leadership model, those weaknesses are not, they're not, it's not safe to just express it for fear of
Right.
shaming, or they might hide it. And so if
Hmm.
you look at what happened with Hitler,
Right.
even though he was a great leader, there's that moral flaw that can lead to a downfall. So usually
Right.
trait leaders don't last that long.
Right, right.
That's
Okay.
just from research. So,
Okay. Well, the next kind of leadership I was thinking of discussing was the transactional type. Tell us a little bit about the transactional style.
well, the transactional leadership model, this model kind of came up from the mechanistic view of the world, where um, when in the industrial age things need to get done,
Right.
We need to produce. We need to have
Mm-hmm.
goals. So in order to have goals, we need structures in place. So it's more of a hierarchical model where you have the top down leadership. So a leader who adopts this style loves goals, loves meeting
Right.
goals. Remember those days where did you meet your goal? That's more of a transactional leadership model.
Right.
And so if you didn't meet your goal, then
Right.
maybe you might be asked to step down
Mm.
or put aside just because the goal is the most important thing.
Right, right. So a transactional leader might come across insensitive because he or she is only focused on the goals
It's
and
not very
methods.
relational. Yeah.
Right. Or they could even come across like someone who doesn't care because they're not focusing so much on the human element, right? They're
Yeah.
focusing on the big picture of the goal, maybe the numbers or the
Right.
stats or
Right.
whatever. So,
Right.
okay, great. What about the transformational style leadership?
Yeah. Well, the transformational leader, if you're under that leader or if you're a transformational leader, you want to inspire change based on values. We have like the Tony Robbins, or, they want to transform lives. So the leaders focused more on is not so much on structure, but I need to inspire by stories, by the way I live, or just instilling those values, and hopefully the followers will adopt those values and rise up to whatever they want to become. So
Right. So I would look at it and I would go, so a transformational leader or leadership style may not necessarily focus on the details, like giving guidance,
right,
because some people, they need to be told how to do it and what to do, right?
right,
Because transformational leader takes time.
yeah,
It's looking at the big picture and
right,
not really
exactly,
focused on the task at hand. So that
right,
could be their downside.
exactly. Yeah,
Or
that's a
what
good point.
about the servant leadership? I know we talked about steward leadership, but what about the servant leadership?
Yes. A person named Greenleaf actually adopted this model, or kind of brought this model out, where it's under that calling of I'm going to serve others. We have like the emotional, spiritual recovery. Uh, uh, you know, People who adopt this leadership focus on recovery, work, meeting emotional needs, spiritual needs. So that is the servant leadership model. Yeah.
Hmm. Well, it sounds like a really interesting model, though. However, I would think that in this model, people may look at a leader like as if he or she is weak because they're looking to meet the needs of the people and they're waiting for people to give them that initiative, or they're waiting to work along and serve
Right.
and look to the needs of the people
Right.
rather than providing them with that direction and just that guidance. Wouldn't you say that?
Yes, I think they do have guidance, but it's more of when you think about like the spiritual recovery groups, or the person is provided a safe place, and they might have steps that they need to grow in, but the leader's there to serve the person, the people.
Wow, that sounds great. I was thinking, so in order for me to be the best that I can be, in order for me to be keeping up with the times, I need a combination of all these styles of
Yeah,
leadership.
yeah,
If I just stick to like one style of leadership, it's not going to work.
yeah.
So, would you say like the best or the effective way of leading people is to learn from all the different styles?
I do agree. And that's why last time I talked to you about the Steward leadership model and how that's my favorite, because I really believe that Jesus modeled what a great leader um, could be. And when you look at his life, if you were at that time, you might feel like, I don't like the results. He died. And his disciples ran away,
Right,
I really don't like that leadership model. But
right.
I think long term, because he is God and because it impacts us still today,
Mm-hmm.
I really believe that adopting that model where God is the one we follow, and through inspiration from him, we lead others. will go a long way. So you're right that all these models have strengths and weaknesses, and we might prefer one over the other depending on our comfort.
Right.
But I think the challenge for us is to grow to be more like Jesus and lead like he. So it's still evolving. We're still growing. We have long way to go. And but I think understanding the models can maybe help us show more grace to each other, because I'm sure we've hurt people as we led them in our ignorance. So so
Yeah.
hopefully, knowing the different models can help us see, oh, we're not like Jesus. We will all make mistakes. Let's trust God with the leaders he put over us. So
I love the fact that you said that Jesus is the perfect model. I think so too, because you need a perfect model.
yeah, yes,
Because,
and it's not
like
on
we
earth.
said, every style has an upside and a
Yeah,
downside to it.
yeah,
And yet, at the same time, the Bible does say that Jesus was a perfect
yes,
person, isn't it? And so, what I'm thinking, my takeaway
yeah,
from this, right, is you got to be humble. If you want to be a leader, got to be humble, because at any given time, you know that you would have to keep changing.
yeah,
You can't be like my way or the highway,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And secondly, I think you have to consistently grow and develop personally.
yeah, yeah,
There's never a time in your life you can say, this is it, I've grown, I've seen it, I've done that,
yeah,
that's it. You
yeah,
can't say that. You have to consistently
that's
grow.
right.
And I think the third thing would be just learn from everybody else and their differences.
Yep,
Because you know how we tend to keep away from people who are different from us
yeah,
because it's uncomfortable, we don't understand them, we
mm,
can't get along with them. And
right,
so we're like, I don't know, I'll just be
yeah,
happy with who I'm comfortable
yeah,
with. I think we have to learn from every kind of situation.
absolutely,
So
absolutely.
this is what I would say would be the takeaway from
Yeah,
different styles.
yeah, I appreciate you sharing that. I think when you're talking about Jesus, what I read today, he says, sometimes we can be weary as leaders. And he says, come to me, those who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest for your soul. Learn from me, because I'm gentle and humble at heart. So I think what you talked about, that humility, gentleness, goes a long, long way for a leader. So let's challenge each other to grow there. Amen.
That's it. And I think, you know what? I was thinking maybe we should also like contact the younger generation and ask them what they think about or
Yeah,
what they look for in
yeah,
leader, right?
let's do
And
that next.
maybe for the next session, we'll invite some young people and see
Yes,
what they have to
I
say.
love that idea. Maybe we can start with our daughters. What do you think?
Yeah, let's do okay. Let's do it. Well, thank you so much, Pam. I know you get, you even in the middle of your vacation, you're willing to,
I'm
sit down and chat
committed
with
to
me.
you for 30 years. So,
Oh, that's it. Committed to growing and changing, I
yeah,
guess.
till we get to heaven, huh?
That's it. That's it.
Mhm.
All right. I'm gonna let you go back and have fun. And I hope today's session was useful
Yes.
to others who are watching us. So
Yeah.
until next time,
All right. All right.
see
Thank
you at
you.
the midday. All right. Bye now.
Bye bye.